Hi and welcome to today's chess session that I bring you. I bring you a game that is here. Okay, this is played on the 22nd of September. According to my search for what day was it. It was a Sunday, but I think it was a Saturday. This is the Bledisloe Cup match final for Bledisloe Cup chess match, which was played by Morse code. And with runners and all that sort of thing that weren't people playing or people that were playing waiting for their moves, which would take quite a while, even though it's just like Canterbury versus Otago final, where Auckland and Wellington had already been divvied out of the that tournament that year. So this is actually 2 days ago, was 40 years ago that this game was played, and I was on board F for Otago at that age. I was only 17, so I think I was 17. Yeah, I was. And so I was on board F for Otago versus Canterbury. So this game, even though it's just very short, took a long time to play. It takes about 11 hours of being at the chess club, and even then the game might not necessarily finish. So I'm white for Otago on board F, which is board 6, which is quite good for a 17-year-old young lad. So I can actually feel like that's a bit of an achievement, even being on board 6 for Otago. That's quite good at the age of 17. So here's this game. So I noticed just 10 minutes ago, I was talking to my friend and I said, oh, what? That just happened, that happened like 40 years ago. 40 years ago and 2 days ago. So I'm going to call this the 40th anniversary of that game. So here we go. So black is in Canterbury, not in Otago. I'm in Otago. I lived in Dunedin for another 4 years or so in Dunedin, and then I left home because it just happens like clockwork that one day I woke up and I thought, hang on a second, I don't actually have to stay with mum and dad anymore. I've been given the key, the 21 gun salute key, to say that you're now, you've got the key to the house, which is just a mirror, which I've still got, of course. So, but I thought, hang on, I can just, it was quite natural. I can just actually stay somewhere else. Even though there was also this girl I was really attracted to that happened to live in Christchurch, without going into any more detail, that I sort of like came up to Christchurch initially for, and then I thought, oh, I don't have to go back to my parents in Dunedin. I would stay here. So I rang them up and said, oh, I'm not coming back. I'm going to look for a flat up here. And that's what I really did. So here we go, without further ado. So these moves, though they are on my score sheet for the 22nd of the 9th, 79, my opponent is P. Bates. It's a Sicilian Basman variation or something like that. So here we go. Let's go. What's that mean? What's a Sicilian Basman? So you've got to understand that these moves take a long time to transmit from one club to another and then back again with Morse code. So what would happen is they would just have a wee chit just of what board number and what, or board letter, numeral, letter, they would have a wee piece of paper that would just say board F, move 4, which might take an hour and a half to play 4 moves. Okay, but it only takes on the score sheet for my clock that I was using 2 minutes for move 1, 4 minutes altogether for my second move, and on move 4 I'd use 7 minutes on my clock. But it's then when I give my move to the runner, or I take it to the room myself at the Otago Chess Club, which you can see on one or so of my videos on YouTube, I would push my clock when I'd made my move and that sort of thing. And some other things go on too at teams tournaments as well. Let me not go into detail, but here we go. E4, C5. So you've got to understand that just to transmit and to have these 2 moves played on both boards took about 20 minutes, even though it might have only taken my opponent at the other end a split second in comparative to that of my 2 minutes. So here we have knight f3 and e6, d4 and bishop c5. So what did I do when I was 17 years old? I went knight b3. I will attack the bishop. Ha ha ha. Move it or lose it. Heather would say, Heather Wegener, move it or lose it. But my opponent doesn't move it. Doesn't even protect it with a pawn or anything like that. Not even a knight. Doesn't move it. Just moves their knight on f6. Goes knight f6. I go, oh yeah. Oh, knight takes c5, queen a5, check. So I'll show you. If this, then simply black just goes queen a5, and according to white's next move, if b4, they're not queen c5 unconditionally, which is a bit of a problem. If you say unconditional after queen a5 to speed things up, and against anything I'm going to play queen takes knight, then white would be able to play, if that was what they said. If they said, oh, queen a5 check, we're going to pick the knight back up on c5, and I'm going to play next move for black to save some time instead of waiting half an hour for my next move to come through, I'm going to play queen c5. So if that was the case, unconditional, then I would play b4, of course, maybe if I thought outside the square. And then after queen c5, white would play this, and black could then resign. But that's not the case. So all that is kind of water under the bridge. So I thought, if I play here now knight c3, then my opponent will probably play bishop to b4 and pin this knight and annoy this pawn on e4, as it would be threatening to capture it. So I played here bishop d3. Why not? It's not the best move on the planet, and soon I'm going to be threatening that bishop on c5. So now black move bishop b6. Skitty cat, skitty cat. Talking about cats, we won't go on about cats because cats are great, aren't they? But I was singing the song yesterday, everybody wants to be a cat. Are you an Italian cat, or are you an Australian cat? This black cat next door to me, to my property here. So anyway, bishop d3, bishop b6, and now I castle. No, naughty boy. I played e5, and my opponent went knight d5 from Canterbury. And so Otago went queen g4. Yeah, this looks good, because I was able to see that if castles, then I would play bishop to h6. Okay, so we'll just go new variation. I would play this in a hurry, which still would have taken about 3 hours to get to this point, or 2.5 hours. But I remember playing this game, and there's one particular person I remember saw it, and I'm going to alert him to it. And that's what I'm writing down right now. So it's 40 years since this game was played, but not this one, because this is the sub variation. Obviously here now, obvious for most chess players, is I am threatening, if this was the case, Queen G7 checkmate. So that's very hard for black to defend against like that. If it's white's turn, it's Queen G7 checkmate, or even Bishop G7, and then Bishop away somewhere, and we've got a few clusters of checks here. So black would more or less be compelled to play here, not here, because then I could just take this pawn with the bishop, and then I'm threatening the queen, and I'm threatening check at the same time. So that would be no good for black. So black would more or less be forced to play this, and I would ideally quickly remove this rook for bishop, which is going to be advantageous white, as long as I can follow it up quickly. The other thing is that this knight can come here and here after that, and here, or maybe even with the support of the queen by playing the same sort of thing, and knight out, and then taking with the pawn, all that sort of stuff. So that's a little bit of gobbledygook, but that's the sort of things we can think of. So here black played G6, very sensible. Now if I play Bishop H6 now, then that would obviously prevent black from castling, because they're not allowed to travel over an attacked square, even though the rook, if it's attacked here, black can actually castle, even though it's not really a good position for the bishop on f6, because it would get whacked by the knight on d5 would capture the bishop. But here black can castle, given, you know, not worrying about the possibility of bishop d8, of course, or knight f6. Here black can castle, but here black cannot castle, because black would be travelling over an attacked square. I'll show you. It's not going to let me do it. See, you got to listen to that whistle thing. So that's no good. So here I went knight a3. Now this is not a bad move. I think it's quite good. It might be better to play knight bd2 and knight e4 and knight f6 or d6, but I went knight a3. Here black went queen c7, and so the other way around I think was different. Yeah, it's different, because now, no, it's not. So queen c7, and now I just protect the e5 pawn, the pawn on the other side of the playing field, which is on black's side of the board, unlike soccer or rugby, as I've just mentioned to one of the greatest rugby players of New Zealand, that in chess rugby is called the muscle game of the chess muscle game. That's what rugby is considered. So I'm saying, well, okay, fine, I like to coach rugby then, because I'm a reasonable coach for maybe even just looking outside the square. That might be what I bring to the game of chess, okay? To look outside the square, to think outside the square. So obviously I've moved this knight, instead of to a central square, I've moved it here. And here I might have, before queen c7, so sorry, I'll just finish what I'm saying. This pawn is actually on the other side of the board, and so if that's a pretty bad impersonation of a whistle. I'm sure I'm going to get brought to the whistle court, for bad impersonation thereof, and I'll probably get sued by a whole lot of whistles. So here we have the pawn is on the other side of the board, and unlike soccer and rugby and hockey and all those sorts of things, when the umpire generally goes, everyone has to go back to their proper positions, especially if there's a centre kick off in soccer. So that's unlike chess, where this pawn, even if it's here, gets to stay there regardless of if anyone blows a whistle or anything like that. So a little bit of gobbledygook, but pretty roughly correct with real life situations. So here we got knight c4, because I'm just thinking, oh, he's attacking my e5 pawn, and guess what? Now black attacks it again with the knight c6. So here I kind of ignore it, because I could go knight b6, and this is probably about tea time already, or something like that. I don't know if it's tea time, but I think that it said 10 o'clock on clock, and I said this was start was, oh, hold on, start was 12:30. Went to start 12, meant to start 12 o'clock, arrived 11, something like that. And this time control, by the way, is 40 and 2 and 21. So the time control has to be honoured still, even though the clocks cannot be seen by our opponent in the other province. So here we go, and I really think that this particular type of chess match should be rekindled, and there are other people that think that too in New Zealand. And currently, even though I'm in Christchurch, and I'm not going to go on much longer, that even though I'm in Christchurch, the cup still resides in the Otago and at the Otago Chess Club thereof. So it's really worthwhile for other centres to say, hey, this isn't good enough, including one of my best friends from New Zealand Chess in Auckland is saying something to that effect as well. So here, after knight c6, I went knight d6. Why not? Check. And I can always play this, even though I do not really particularly like the square for the knight or the bishop. So here's king f8. Other moves aren't as good. Now I just go, why not? Bishop h6, check. And king goes to g8. Now I have to think, oh, that pawn on e5, if it gets taken, I'm going to be in trouble with knight takes e5 and queen takes knight, or something to that effect. So I have to do something about it. So I believe I just moved my queen up to, not to g5, to g3. I don't think I was comfortable with g5. Oops, see, cancel. Don't do that, please, computer. I don't think I was comfortable with this move because of what would you play for black here. If white played this, I don't think I was comfortable with this move here, okay? So if you want to think about what would you play here if you're black, I don't think I was very comfortable with it. Was it queen d8? Swap pieces, please. The bishop, the queen, thanks. That might be quite good. Was it knight e5? No, that will not do, because queen e5, and then I'm threatening queen g7 checkmate. Or it'd be almost nice if I could go knight e8 and knight f6 checkmate, couldn't it? So the move I would be worried about is, I believe the computer would probably play it, is f6. And I think that even though black might have some difficulties, I think that would be a good move, because it's now getting rid of my my pawn protection of the knight on d6 bastion, and I can't take it, of course, because of queen takes knight, as the arrow shows, and I'm not going to take it with the queen, of course. So that's possibly what I thought of, that I don't want to play queen g5, because it invites that move f6, which looks not too bad for black. So here's queen g3. So of course knight e5 is not really an option, because just queen takes e5, and if need be, the queen can just retract or go back to g3 again to keep protection of the knight on d6 in black's camp. And when the whistle blows, like I said, the knight doesn't have to go back to its position like b1 or a3 or c4 or something. It just stays there when the whistle blows in chess. So here we've got queen g3. Now I think f5 happened. No, queen d8. It's very difficult for my my black opponent here, but I'm not sure whether or not I'd do this actually. So, oh, hold on, what happened there? Oh, I went h4, that's right. Wegener, what are you doing? Oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm threatening pawn takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, checkmate. So that's why I'm threatening. I'm threatening h5, chomp, 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 and queen g6 after bishop g6. Fantastic, fantastic sacrifice. Not really. It's not hard to see, is it? Let's face it. So h4, and so it looks quite primitive. So black now plays knight cb4, attacking my wonderful bishop on d3, and I don't really want to lose it, so I just play bishop e4. Just keep it in the game, and also watching c2 square, that I don't allow black to get knight c2 and check. No! Computer, no, that's not the move. You know that. Do I castle as white? Don't know if I got time to. I had to be quick, because otherwise this game could get adjudicated. Now that's like an adjournment, but this could have got adjudicated. And if it got adjudicated, wow, f5. So, your move. Obviously, I'm going to have to say, oh no, now black is wanting to stop me from having my bishop on e4 because I've gone f5. What do I do now? So what did I do now? What would you do now? I could go, or you could go ef6, and then maybe black might play knight f6 or queen f6. And then they've got a sort of a, what I would call a kind of a feel-good protection around the king by bringing their queen into the play. So f5, I'm not sure if I go ef6. It just gives black some options, but I come back to the start again. If I go bishop c e4 to f3, then I'm going to get the red arrow knight c2, most likely played by black. If I take the knight, well, probably the knight will take back, or the computer shows bishop knight c2 as well, but I don't know, I don't think so. So what did I play here now? Getting back to the story. You've got to keep me focused. the move I play now is, wait for it, surprise, 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 as Gorma Pai would say, h5. So as for the aforementioned idea b4, pardon me, not b4, which is possibly going to come, but as for previously mentioned, black now, if they take this, okay, then clearly everyone can see this move. Now, this is a really big problem for black, because now I just threaten pawn takes pawn, check, and queen g7. So let's just try to defend this. We could do that, and let's say queen here. Well, that's not going to be very good, because then I'm going to play maybe knight f7 and renew the threat again. Let's say black plays this, and let's say just by the cuff I can play this. You see, this is check with the queen and the pawn at the same time, so I would play this because I've just looked at it, and king takes, and then I have this very annoying move which also wins the queen, but this is an annoying check that everyone can see what happens next. This is an annoying check, and some people would say that's checkmate. No, it's not, because black has one more move, and this is checkmate. Okay, so it's very, very dangerous if black takes my bishop on e4. And you could have a look at other ideas too. Whereas I'm not really keen before h5 of playing knight f5 unless this knight on d5 was unprotected. Then I would have probably played knight f5. But I quite like h5, and I'm sorry to go on about it, but I do quite like h5 because it's pretty zesty. It's got it's like a good bit of lemon juice, you know. It's not just a dull kind of a taste. It's got some spike to it. So h5 looks spectacular. I'm not saying it's the best move on the planet, but it looks rather spectacular. And if black would now play g5, then we've got troubles for black with bishop g5, and then that bishop can move away and renew the threat on the king with check of the queen on g3. So here we have black's move. I think it was knight e7, was it? Yes. And here, what would you do now? Panic! My bishop's on pre. So do I just take the do I just move my bishop away and then knight d3? So if I move my bishop to d3, do I just do that and go, then my opponent can play knight d3 if they so wish, or do I do something different? Sorry, it's not meant to see that, I'm not trying to show that. So I go c3. And now we have bishop a5. Not quite what I expected, but it's similar to what happened before. So really, probably you could think, well, I'd probably go here. Maybe the computer would. New variation, and here, or here. Not so good, because I'm just going to move, and I think this is very good for white, but I might not be correct without looking at it properly. c3, and there comes bishop a5. And so I took this bishop, thinking that, first of all, I'm now attacking this knight, aren't I? Which would actually, incidentally, be protecting the knight on a5. So black now plays queen a5. And then I think, well, I'm going to have a free piece here. Now white was met with queen b2 and rook b1, queen a2 and bishop d3. So here I am, and look at this bishop that is not really enjoying where it's at, because it's neither here nor there sort of mentality written all over its face. What's it actually doing? It's stopped and prevented from getting out at this stage because of this annoying knight in black's camp on d6. So here we go with the next part of the game, which is, this is probably about 8:30 or something at night now, so after tea. So I have to be expedient. My opponent might like to resign soon, maybe. So b6 and queen g5, and I believe this is where my opponent did resign, because there's no real way for black to defend here. I think that's the end of the game. So what I'll do is I will now get the engine to play the rest real quickly. Oops, again, I've done that thing with my mouse. It's not done on purpose, honestly. So now we're going to get black to force moves, even though white's in a 1 position. Is that the move that you're going to play for what black? Really? Come on, you must have something else. Bishop a6, queen e7, rook f8, h6, queen b1, only move, bishop b1. Now, if we had a few knights around the place, we could probably just about check black mate, white. So check black mate, and we've got queen f7 mate. That's the end of the session. So happy 40th anniversary, and that means I'm very old, doesn't it? Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Please bring back the Bledisloe Cup for chess, that is.